What's good, everybody? I hope you all had a great weekend. Thank you guys for listening to episode 11 of Tune Check. And just like every other episode before, we're going to talk about the news, then the singles, and then we're going to talk about albums that came out. We're going to kick it with the news. We're going to talk about some releases. Then we're going to just get into everything else that I got jotted down that I wanted to mention. So we're going to start off with Tink. She released her On the Block performance for her song Hit a Lick. And to be honest, I think she did a great job. I think she killed it. If you haven't heard that song, seen the performance, or even heard her mixtape, go listen to all of that because you're definitely missing out. And then the next artist that we got that released a performance was also Maxwell. He released his Tiny Desk performance, and I think that's fire. You know, he's one of the GOATs. I enjoyed it when I was watching it. He did some fire songs, so go check it out. And then next, we got some news revolving Travis Scott. So he officially released his mixtape Days Before Rodeo on streaming services after like 10 years. I remember when he announced this, I was on social media and I seen that like a lot of people were excited, especially his fans. Everybody was anticipating it. He released like a few different cover vinyl sets as well and some merch related to that. So, you know, if you're a diehard Travis Scott fan, go buy that. But yeah, like I said, for the past few days, I've just been seeing memes and posts about Travis Scott because literally all his fans, everybody ate off that. So this was projected to sell 217K its first week. And I think that's amazing. Honestly, for a mixtape that came out 10 years ago, for it to do those numbers right now is insane. And it's doing more than current artists right now, like that are coming up or just release projects. If you got something from 10 years ago that does 200K its first week, that's insane. Because we literally have artists doing like 5K, 10K. Like, it's embarrassing to be honest, but hey, like, it is what it is. And yeah, we're in a streaming era, but you know, this just goes to show that, and this goes to show that artists with real substance or that are like just big in general will always make numbers and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but in regards to this, the song Drugs, You Should Try It from this mixtape was streamed 2.5 million times on Spotify on its opening day of the project going up, and that's fire. It literally became the biggest hip hop debut of the year. And he even released a video for it. So if you haven't seen the video, go watch it. But shout out to Travis because to be honest, he's been on a run for like a year now, or since his last album dropped, which is like last year basically. Well, it's almost gonna be a year, but he's been on a good run. So honestly, shout out to him. And I really like how this shows that there's literally a decline in hip hop right now, you know, in rap and all that because of all these artists. There's like no substance. And it just goes to show that music from a few years ago is definitely better than whatever we got now. But more news regarding Travis Scott. His album Astro World becomes the first male hip hop album to have all the songs certified platinum. And for it to be the first male hip hop album to do this is crazy. Then the other hip hop album that achieved this was Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy. So, you know, we got one for the men, then we got one for the females. So that's fire. And then speaking about albums, you know, Kid Cudi confirmed that his collab album with Travis Scott, The Scotts, isn't happening. He went on social media and basically responded to a fan and was like, nah, you know, it's off the tables. We got to move past that. I don't know what happened there, but I mean, I think it would have sounded dope to be honest, because Kid Cudi put out a great project and Travis Scott did too. So I feel like it probably would have done some numbers and it would have been like a really nice listening experience to be honest. But you know, sometimes we just gotta take the L and we can't really do much about it, you know. Y'all got Days Before Rodeo, so regardless, you guys are alright. The next we got some news regarding Drake. So he released three new songs on his burner account. You know, he put them up on that website. He got 100 gigs for your head top. But the songs are called No Face. Then he released SOD, which is Super Soaker. But he took off Little Yachi, you know, he doesn't have his verse on there anymore. And then the last one is Circadian Rhythm. Since he released the last ones like a few weeks ago, I've been saying that a lot of people have been rocking with it on social media. And I thought it was fire too. And then these three new songs are actually pretty dope as well. So go listen to it if you haven't. Go check out that website. Because he also uploaded more videos of him being in the studio, you know, more sessions of him making songs for his older albums like Nothing Was the Same or Views and stuff. You know, videos with him at 40, him like rapping over his beats and stuff, him telling him how he wants it to sound. I think that's pretty dope. But there's like two videos in particular that like people were talking about mostly. The first one being about the weekend. So there's a video of Drake, you know, peacing, dabbing up everybody, talking to them and shit, and then later on acknowledges the weekend being there. This kind of looks like it was from the Nothing Was the Same era, because Drake has like that haircut, that little thing on the side of his head. I don't even know what it's called, but it looks like it's from that time, and it is kind of weird. But I feel like that's when they started beefing, and a lot of people were saying that as well. And you could also tell that it's like older because the Weeknd had his hairstyle, the one that he came out with when he was looking all crazy and shit. And to be honest, I think that's the best version of the Weeknd that we ever got and will ever receive. That's just my opinion though. But getting back to the topic, yeah, so he pretty much just acknowledges the Weeknd afterwards, and it was just very awkward and weird. Like you could just see it and feel it. Like you're not really there, but you could just feel that shit and just see it. Like it's weird. And I thought it was kind of weird to release a video like that, but then again, like it is what it is. I think it just shows that their relationship has been like on and off for like a while, because I remember a few years ago they were at a party together for something, and Drake was pretty much, congratulating the Weeknd for selling out a stadium in, I think, Canada. But y'all know how Drake be moving sometimes. He be petty and shit. So I mean, you can't really expect nothing else. Then the second video is basically Drake talking to his producer, about a song that they're like recording or trying to put out. And in the video, it's basically about a collab that Drake wanted to do with Kendrick. He asked him for a feature, and he was like, yeah, he would murder it, especially right now because of the place that he's in. And his producer was like, yeah, I agree. I'm guessing this is the feature that Kendrick was talking about on Euphoria when he says, oh, why would you ask for a feature or something? And then I seen on social media that a lot of people were repeating that lyric too, speaking about how Drake wanted a feature. And I thought it was dope, hearing Drake praise Kendrick, because this is clearly after the Control verse. And like for him to just be like, yeah, I wanted him on this song, it just kind of goes to show that Drake probably got over that issue a while ago, like a while ago. But probably right after that whole verse came out, and then Kendrick was really just hating this entire time, just like how he said on the song. It kind of just like shows more on what the issue really is and shows who really has an issue. But it does add like a lot more and a different perspective into this whole rap war that they had. But on the brighter side, Drake's previous tracks that he released on this website extended his career entries on the Hot 100 with 336. So at the end of the day, Drake is still Drake. Drake is still the bigger artist, streaming wise, number wise, you know what I'm saying? But next on news regarding, breaking records and all that, we got Chris Brown. Shout out to Chris Brown for real. His song Sensational breaks his three-way tie with Usher and Bruno Mars for the most number one hits this decade on the R&B radio chart. So you got another GOAT doing GOAT things, and Chris Brown's always breaking records, like especially this year. Like I've just been seeing nothing but like great things revolving him regarding his songs, his music. So shout out to him. Even his tour was sold out for every show. He made that bread, and I think he's going back on tour again soon. That's what he said. So we'll see what happens. But then next we got Lotto. Her recent album, Sugar Honey Iced Tea, debuted at number one on the top rap albums chart, and it makes it her first number one entry. So shout out to her. Congratulations. The album was fire. If you haven't checked it out, go listen to it. This also makes her the third woman to top this chart in 2024 after Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday 2 and Megan Thee Stallion's Megan. So I had seen somebody say, "Oh, we got the big three in female rap," and I'm just like, "Yo, you're stupid." But I mean, I feel like maybe that could possibly be the case. But then again, there's probably other artists that are better too, or not even better, just like who are as good as them. And then next, we got news on ASAP from August 30th to fall of this year. I had a feeling he was gonna do that. I had a feeling it was gonna get delayed because it's been happening for a while. This album was supposed to come out a while ago. It's been in the works for a minute. But it is what it is. I feel like he's just trying to perfect it, and I hope he does because I don't want anything like testing to come back out. Testing was trash. He said it's due to issues with sampling and clearance, and I get it. Shit like that happens all the time with the labels and everything, but hopefully it works out for him, and hopefully none of that hinders how the album's supposed to sound. They said recently he played the album for Tim Burton. That's so fucking random. Like, and and he said Tim Burton was rocking with it, so I'm just like, what did he make? Like a whole album just full of Batman anthems and shit. Like it doesn't make any sense, but hopefully we get it in the fall. Hopefully we get it early fall. The singles he's put out has been fire, so I'm expecting nothing but greatness from that. And then last we basically just got some news about Lil Yachty and Caribou. So over the past couple days, they've just been having some issues. Like, so it turns out that Caribou was basically somewhere eating somewhere, I think, and she was telling the waiter of where she was at, saying that she got kicked out the group, that she was getting bullied, that they were being really mean. Everybody on Concrete Boys was being mean to her, and that she doesn't want to talk about it. And her waiter at the restaurant basically was saying all this on social media, and that Caribou seemed really hurt. And then later on, Lil Yachty went on live and just started going off, like, yeah, he was going off saying, hey, don't lie, like, I've always treated you with respect. Like, I don't know why you coming out and saying all this. Like, why do we even have to talk about this type shit? Like just being mad and upset about everything that she was saying, going against it, saying that she's a liar, that nobody bullied you, that she was disrespecting everybody, even her, like, even his security guards and everything, that he literally paid for everybody to live in his crib and paid everything for them. He wrote all their songs. Well, pretty much everything that they have is from him. And it just started this whole thing, and then Caribou even like put up screenshots of two songs that she put out, saying that she wrote these songs, like telling Lil Yachty to stop lying, and to leave her out his shenanigans on the internet and shit, like telling him to stop bullying her, that she didn't say anything, and that he's letting random fans just pretty much get in his head and just, change the narrative and shit. And then she went on Instagram and put it up like a story, pretty much her saying she'll never forget this, never forget this chapter of her life. She'll never be the same. I'll never forget who wasn't there for me, and that she's not with him publicly bullying her. Watching a grown man with 12 million followers bully me and overly lie on my name. And then she says that Lil Yachty, like, that he has her number and that he's a grown bitch. I thought that was funny. And for him to leave her alone, that she never said nothing, and she still hasn't said anything about what's really going on. She doesn't want any beef with him and the music industry in general, or industry people. That she's gonna just stay in her lane, and that she's not even gonna say nothing no more. She's gonna let everything else speak for itself. And Lil Yachty was like, "Don't throw rocks and hide your hand." And overall, like, I just thought this whole issue was weird. One, it was random. Two, like, it's just the way that Lil Yachty reacted after all of that, like how he just went off on everybody, especially her. And he even went off on one of his boys that he does that podcast he does with. But it was just weird how he just like overreacted and just went crazy. So it kind of just shows that like he's stretching it a little bit. Like he might be lying, to be honest, but we won't really know. Anyone decides to really speak on it, but I feel like this is probably just gonna blow over. I don't see it becoming a big issue like that. It's been kind of dead for a while for the past couple days, but who knows? Maybe it'll come back up, but hopefully they could both like just make amends and shit. But that's it for the news. Now we're gonna get into our singles. And the first single I want to talk about is Kids Craig and Huncho, Better Plans. I don't even know if I said his name right, so I apologize for that. But the name of the song is called Better Plans. So Kids Craig, I don't even know how to say his name, but his last release was fire. We spoke about that a few episodes ago. I still listen to it to this day. I think it was dope. But this song here, I really loved it. It was like a mix of Afro beats and, some dance. It's definitely a club song, to be honest. And Huncho did his thing on the beat as well. Like, I think he was the perfect feature. I think he was the right person for this song because of his tone and how he was rapping. It really set the mood on this record, and I think it's a banger. Then the next single is from Sleepy Hollow. It's called Nostalgia featuring Gray Hawkin. I wanted to talk about this song because I thought this song was fucking whack. Sleepy Hollow's been doing his thing, and this song was just whack. Like, what the fuck? It was boring as fuck. The bass is too heavy and it doesn't sound like it was like fixed, or the production on this was trash. It was terrible. It wasn't clean. Like, it's like they needed like master it again or something, or fix the EQ levels or something. I don't know, but it just sounds terrible. And the only good thing about it was because of the feature. He kind of sounds like Friday mixed with Giveon, but other than that, like, the song was trash and it just didn't sound great at all. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened here. Maybe he just rushed it or something, but he needs to go back and fix it up. I just wanted to go on this little rant about it because I was kind of disappointed. But anyway, on to the next single. We got ASAP Rocky. He released Taylor Swift. To be honest, at first, I wasn't really feeling this, but then after a few listens, I actually started fucking with it. It sounds like a cozy tape kind of song, and the beat sounds like a Pierre Bourne beat, to be honest. and I love Pure Born, so I thought it was dope. But you can hear like how much of a good time ASAP Rocky was having, like how easy it was for him to make this song, how effortless it was for him as well. And I really enjoyed the sound. It kind of sounds like early ASAP Rocky to me too from his mixtapes. If this is the kind of vibe he's bringing onto his new album, I'm definitely here for it. And I know everybody else is too, because that's a time where everything was fire. He was really putting out dope ass records, dope ass mixtapes. I'm excited. Like I said, hopefully this album comes out early fall, not late fall, but we'll see what happens. Then the next song I want to talk about is Tommy Richmond, Thought You Were the One. On this track, you could hear the Brent Faiyaz influences, since Tommy's his artist, but compared to his last two singles, this was probably the weakest one. He's still trying to write off that Million Dollar Baby sound or wave that he made. And I feel like he kind of dragged it with this one, especially with like the high notes. It's not really nothing crazy, nothing too much to talk about here. And I wasn't feeling it at times. His voice sounds a little out of place. He just like does too much on the chorus, but I don't know, maybe he could like switch it up a little bit, or actually when he puts out his next project, or if he is going to put out a project, it sounds a little different or better. But this wasn't really it. But if you guys want to go check it out for yourselves, go listen to it. I don't really think it was that fire though. Then next we got Lil Tecca. He released his song Bad Time. He's 3 for 3 right now. This song is fire, and the production, his production is always top tier, and I love that about his fucking music. I think it's dope as hell. The beat on this was fire. That shit stands out like crazy. And I've been playing this song like back to back. I've been listening to it for a while now. His bars aren't really the craziest things, but it's his flow and his cadence that really help blend and complete the song. So go listen to it. It's called Bad Time. That shit is hard. And then the last single I want to talk about is from Corey Day. It's called Summer Drop, featuring Anderson .Paak. This was a nice little chill vibe. I feel like they should have released it a little bit earlier into the summer, not late into the summer, but it is what it is. It's not an aggressive beat, but the bars that they had were very clean and very nice. I like how they was going back and forth with each other. This was another song that I believe was produced by J. Cole. I think the last one was as well. And to be honest, this kind of makes me want a collab album with Anderson and Corday, because I think they're both dope artists in their own right. They definitely sound good together. They vibe off each other. Anderson's been doing his thing as well, especially with his last collab album, the NX Worries album that he dropped. Go check this song out. Go check out that last album I mentioned from Anderson .Paak. Corday's coming out with something new too, so that's like probably around the corner right now. But hopefully it comes out soon. But that's it for the singles. And then next we're gonna talk about, the projects that dropped from this weekend and last weekend. I'm gonna start with the R&B ones first. So the first project I want to talk about is from OG Parker. It's called Moments. This is an EP, 5 songs, 15 minutes. This features Party Next Door, PNB Rock, Lotto, Chris Brown, Leon Grease, Ty Dolla Sign, Money Long, Young Blue, DJ Drama, Lakea, and Tyga. I don't even know if I said Lakea's name wrong. If I didn't say it right, I'm sorry. I only have one favorite song. There's No Fuss. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. This whole shit sounded terrible. It was a fucking mess. It was really bad. Like, it was disappointing because he has a great lineup of artists here, like a lineup of features. And OG Parker's a dope producer. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Like, he has artists that are currently dominating, hip hop, rap, R&B. This kind of just tainted their run a little bit. The only song that I liked, like I said earlier, was No Fuss. It's a P&D feature, Party Next Door. He's on it. I think he carries the entire song. I think he did it well. But that's the only song that I liked. And I thought that was crazy because, he got Chris Brown and Lotto here. He got Ty Dolla Sign and Mooney Long. And I'm just like, yo, like, why were these songs not hitting how they were supposed to? Like, none of the songs did any justice. Like, it was fucking whack. Like, I feel like he should have worked on the track listing a little bit better and chose maybe different artists, or see which ones they would actually fit better. Like, even the beats were nothing to talk about really, because it was just really repetitive. There aren't really any standout moments for this EP, and overall I just thought it was bad, so that's kind of disappointing. I just wanted to mention that real quick. Then next for R&B, we got Mooney Long. She dropped her album Revenge, 14 songs, 43 minutes. The only feature here is Glorilla. My favorite songs is 30s, Revenge, Made for Me, Played Yourself, and The Baddest. To be honest, Mooney Long has been doing her thing lately, from her previous EPs to her recent singles. One of her recent singles being Made for Me started a whole wave, a whole trend. TikTok fucking ate that shit up. She started like memes and everything. It was fire. And she's really stepping into the light more, and I love it. Like, she's really becoming like a giant in R&B, and I think that's dope. And I feel like this album is a work of art, honestly. Her vocals on this album were great. She literally went into the booth, sang her ass off, and then just left. Like, she understood the assignment, and that's what it really needs to be for every artist. But she did her thing on this, and it's great. I love the album. From beginning to end, you could feel the emotion in her voice. She creates these scenarios on each track that are relatable to whoever it is that's listening. Speaks about many of her experiences, love and all that. She sings about relationships, love, healing, growth, because the ending of the album kind of goes back to that topic with the last couple tracks. And, it's very consistent throughout. She gets really personal here and she shows listeners and how she's healing in her journey so far. And I think the lyrics here are great as well. They're very powerful, very dope, especially the way that she presents them with her voice and how she sings them. Her delivery is amazing. I think she did a great job overall. This is one of the best R&B projects I've heard. And I feel like a few years from now, this is honestly going to be talked about even more and be hailed as one of the best. I love how she's becoming this like big figure in this genre and a big name, and how she's dominating R&B right now. One of the artists that's dominating R&B right now. I'm excited to see what her career is gonna unfold for her. But if you haven't heard it, go stream it, go listen to it. It's a great album. And then next for R&B, we got Kehlani. She dropped her mixtape While We Wait 2, 14 songs, 52 minutes. The features are Lucky Day, Known, Lil Mo, Vince Staples, Child of Nines, Destin Conrad, Dixon, Flo, and Ludmilla. My favorite songs are When He's Not There, Close Off, Border, Form of You, and Ballin'. So overall, I feel like they basically went to their original sound or their usual sound on this mixtape because their new album sounded a bit experimental. And I thought it was fire, I loved what Kehlani did there. I loved what she released. I thought it was great. Really dope for her artistry as well. But with the mixtape that Kehlani released, I kind of feel like it was a little underwhelming. I thought there was really good progress on their new album, and I was excited and expecting a little bit more of that. But maybe it's because I've heard this version of Kalani so many times that I felt a little underwhelmed. Because the mixtape isn't bad; it's actually really good. But I was just expecting a little bit more. This has a lot of 90s style R&B beats and a few modern R&B sounds, and I honestly thought that was fire. I feel like it made it stand out a little bit more, and I appreciated that more listening to this. Kelani basically just sticks to the theme of being a romantic who's still a savage, but she's still being considerate of a lot of stuff, for herself and her partner. Typical Kalani. Being that this is Kalani, Kalani's always going to deliver with her lyric. Kalani's always been a dope lyricist, always writing fire songs. And I feel like that's something all Kalani fans will appreciate. And I genuinely feel like this mixtape was really just fan service. This is mostly for her diehard fans because they probably wanted something like this from her last album. But regardless, it's still a great mixtape. So go listen to it if you haven't listened to it. And shout out to Kalani for dropping two back-to-back projects that are honestly great because not a lot of people could do that. All right, but enough about Kalani. Let's get into the next project. It's from Xavier, Omar, and Ile. Truth Be Told. It's an EP, 5 songs, 15 minutes. I honestly love this EP. I think this is one of the best R&B projects I've heard this year by far. To be honest, this is probably going to be my number one R&B project of this whole year when I make my list later on. I think this is dope. I thought it was fire. The collab between both of these artists was amazing. I wasn't expecting any of this at all, to be honest. Like, I need more songs from them or an actual full collab album because, like I said, this shit was fire. I think they both killed it. This was like a mix of modern R&B with a few older R&B elements and sounds. The melodies on this EP help stir up a lot of emotion, and it's the way that they go about it and their delivery of every song and every lyric is really what helps blend everything together because they both have nice voices, especially Xavier Omar. He's always had a great voice and always been a dope artist, but it's just fire having both of these people collab and just do their thing. Honestly, like all the songs here are my favorite. I enjoyed every one of them. Track 1 through 5, I thought everything was dope. And it's only like 15 minutes, so it's a quick listen, and honestly, it's really fire. But I thought this was a great collab. Like, it was really a blend of both of their sounds, and the production here was amazing. This was an amazing piece of art. Like, the EP is about growing romantically, This was consistent throughout the entire thing. This is what an R&B album or R&B project, EP, whatever. This is what it should be. Something that could move you emotionally, something fresh and yet relatable for a lot of the listeners. And I think they did an amazing job with this. Like I said, go listen to it, go stream it. I loved it. I think this is one of the best projects of the year. Probably the number one for me. But shout out to both of these dope artists. Shout out to all these other R&B artists that dropped this year that were actually really good. Except for OG Parker because you was trash. But we'll get into that another time. But that's it for the R&B projects. Next, we're gonna get into our hip hop projects, hip hop rap projects. And there's really only two that I thought was fire that I wanted to talk about that I actually enjoy listening to because all the other ones was alright. They wasn't really nothing crazy. It was very repetitive, sounded kind of whack. So the first one we're gonna talk about is Doechii. She dropped her mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal. 19 songs, 47 minutes. The only feature here is from Cunt Fetish. This album was a great listen. I loved what she did here. Like this was fire. I thought it was dope. This is what I expected from a TDE artist. Like you could hear that in her music. You could hear like a lot of influences from, that label and the group overall. She comes with a lot of bars on this mixtape. She plays with her voice, just like how Kendrick Lamar does, to be honest. She has aggressive tones, soft tones, and just sounds really confident about what she's delivering overall as an artist and as a rapper. Every song had a fire delivery. Every song was consistent to the theme that she was trying to portray. It definitely showed off her skills as a rapper as well because she was really going off. Like her flows and everything was fire. I loved them. I thought they was dope. I loved how this was basically just an emotional journey for her. And the storytelling here was really dope too, especially on some of the songs that she was rapping on. This also speaks about her owning herself as an artist and the space that she has. She doesn't want to be placed in a certain box or in a certain category. And I love how she's establishing that for herself because I feel like that's what you need to do, especially if you're, up and coming and everything. I really enjoyed this album. Like she has a lot of versatility here. Her beat selections kind of remind me of Kendrick Lamar, to be honest, because he usually raps over beats that are very instrumental, not too trap heavy, and I enjoyed that a lot. A perfect example of this is the song Skit. That song was fire. I thought it was heat. It's one of my favorite songs. I loved every song on this mixtape. She also has a few songs on here that are similar to like Doja Cat style in terms of how she raps and fuses singing with it too. Overall, it's still Doechii. I love the comedic approach she took on some songs as well. Kind of reminded me of like Eminem and stuff. Towards the end of the album, she transitions to a few trap beats, which I thought was pretty cool too. She also has some songs where they're kind of like R&B infused because she's singing on them and everything. One example is a song called Beverly Hills. That one is one of my favorite songs as well. And then like my standout track on here is The Nile is a River. She pretty much goes back and forth with herself. And she speaks about relationships that failed and depression and drugs that she was basically doing and stuff. And the back and forth kind of reminded me of the song Guilty Conscience by Eminem, because of how she went about it, the delivery, the comedic style that she had on this. And I feel like this whole mixtape was just a staple for her to let everyone know, like, who she is and that she could actually rap, that she could compete with everybody and do better than a lot of people. And I could genuinely say that this mixtape was one of the strongest projects of this year. I feel like I could see her being a really big name in rap and hip hop. Like she takes her craft seriously. She's very creative. And this is a mixtape that I'm honestly going to listen to a lot. It's going to be on repeat for a while because it's just really, really good. And I'm excited to see what's next for her, to be honest. Like as an artist and as a creative, I think it's gonna be dope. I think she's gonna do real good things. So shout out to her. Shout out to Doechii. Go listen to it if you haven't listened to it. Next, we're gonna talk about our last rap hip hop project. It's from Big Sean. Big Sean finally dropped. I thought he was gonna fucking push it back again. I would have been so mad, but I'm happy he dropped. He dropped his album, sixth studio album, Better Me Than You. 21 songs, an hour and 6 minutes. It's a lot. It's very long. It's fire regardless. The features on this album are Charlie Wilson, Gunna, Aaron Allen Kane, Sid, Thundercat, Bryson Tiller, Kodak Black, Tiana Taylor, Larry June, DJ Premier, Cash Cobain, Nassan, Ellie Goulding, and The Alchemist. So my favorite songs on this were Iconic, Break the Circle, Who You Are, Yes, It Is What It Is, Something, Black Void. this and that, Get You Back, Certified Precision, and Together Forever. So after 4 fucking years, let me chill. But after 4 years, he finally dropped, and I fucked with this project. I thought it was dope. I'm happy he dropped. I honestly had a good time listening to this whole thing because this is a Big Sean album from start to finish. It was great. The features on here was honestly fire, and he put them on the right songs. The placement was crazy. It was dope. You know, Big Sean came with bars here like he always does, and he has quality bars on this album, and he doesn't really try to stick to anything that's trendy or say anything that's trendy. And I thought that was dope. I really appreciated that. Like, he's legit rapping on here, and he's only getting better with his flows and his verses and his lyrics. He's becoming a better lyricist as the time goes by. Each and every project, you could hear his lyricism grow, and I honestly think that's dope as fuck. He has a few moments where he rap sings, but it's nothing too crazy. And he's always saying shit that, like, I don't hear nobody say. Like, he be saying the most simplest shit, but in like the craziest forms, like in his bars and everything. I think that's fire. Like for example, like, but this album overall is really just about being positive, you know, self-reflecting on issues that you had, past experiences as a human being, exploring yourself. He talks about responsibility. You know, Sean is a very spiritual guy, and you can hear his growth here as a person, you know, as a man, as an artist. And I feel like this is one of his most creative projects to date, to be honest. And I do love this journey for him. And he does a great way of expressing this in his album. And honestly, all I could say is I'm waiting for the tour because I need to go. I need to go see Big Sean. I need to go see Big Sean on tour. But go listen to it. I think it's dope. And people be talking about how there's a Fantastic Four, you know, Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, and Future. But to be honest, we gotta add Big Sean in that conversation and make it the Fabulous Five because Big Sean is underrated as fuck, and he really could compete with the big three that we got right now, like he said before. And I think that's definitely a fact, and I will defend that. But shout out to Big Sean for dropping some heat at the end of the summer. That's what we needed. You know, this is gonna keep us warm until fucking January. Because, you know, winter's coming. Shout out to him. Shout out to Doechii as well for dropping a fire ass mixtape. And that's it for the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble on. You know, tune in for the next one. I hope you guys have a great week. You know, tune in for the next one. Follow me on all socials. Like and favorite on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. If there's some songs that I missed that y'all want me to mention or hear and talk about, let me know. Same thing with any mixtapes, albums, anything that you're making that you want me to check out, let me know. But I hope you guys have a great week, and hopefully I catch y'all next time. Peace.